In this video, I will share some tips on how to create highlights and shadows with watercolor while making this cute little fox painting. So let's get started. First of all, if you are not already subscribed to my channel and you are interested in learning about watercolors, then please consider subscribing. It really helps small channels like mine, and I love to share what I know. So for this little fox, I start with an oval shape for the head and added triangles for ears and a little face. Then I make a large oval around the head and turn the bottom portion into the tail. I did speed this up quite a bit just so I can get to the painting demonstration, but if you would be interested in a real-time tutorial complete with an outline for you to trace and paint and a step-by-step color mixing guide, then please let me know in the comments. I mentioned in the intro that I was going to share some tips on creating highlights and shadows with watercolors. To me, the contrast of dark and light adds more interest and depth. It's also not hard to do, you just need to take your time. So the first tip is paint in separate sections. On this fox, I started with the orange part of the head. I'm first wetting it, then add my orangey color, and then the lighter yellow on top, as if the light source is directly above him. I'm not painting the entire fox all at once because in this area above the head, the dark shadow will be right above the yellow of the top of the head, and I want to control that separately. Here, I'm just using my brush tip to gently push the orange and yellow paint together to create a smooth blend. I waited for the head to dry completely before painting his shoulders and back and jumping down to the tail, again wetting the areas first. On the back, I'm doing the same thing, darker on the bottom and lighter yellow on the top. And on the tail, darkest on the bottom again and yellow on the top. When the back and tail are both dry, then I paint the haunch the same way, wet into wet. Now I have all the orange down in the first layer, which brings me to my second tip for creating depth with highlights and shadows. Deepen shadows in a second or even a third layer. To really create dimension, I'm deepening these shadows. Doing this as a second layer over the first dry layer helps me to control where the darker paint goes. Trying to do it all at once is harder, and the brown could mingle with the yellow, muddying up the orange color. So I like to do these in stages. I mixed a deeper brown color and am adding it section by section, starting at the bottom of the tail. Also adding it right under the chin and on the back. It's still wet on the tail, so I'm just adding a little bit more brown there. And for the white fur, these need shadow too, so I'm adding a very diluted indigo to the tip of the tail and the white face mask. Now I'm adding the black tips of the ears onto the wet paper. I dab it with my damp brush to blend it. These little finishing touches really help to bring this little guy to life. Final shadows now on the haunch, and now you can see how the light and shadow really helps with creating form. And for the final tip on light and shadow, add lightest lights and darkest darks next to each other strategically. You can see that the shadow areas are all next to highlight areas. The top of the head, haunch, and tail look even more bright because they are right next to the shadow areas. Now the rest of this painting is just play. Using greens, turquoise, and purple really complement the orangey brown of the fox and just complete the illustration. Thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found these tips helpful. If you liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my other videos as well, please consider becoming a subscriber. Don't forget to leave a comment if you would be interested in a more thorough step-by-step of this little fox, or if there are other little animals you would like to see me paint in this style. I look forward to your comments, and I will see you next time.